A winter storm warning today with a total accumulation of 4 to 9 inches expected before it tapers off this afternoon. Visibility is rotten. Stop crying and grab a shovel.
The roads are bad.
Now, how many of these do you actually have on the road?
One.
One?
One.
That's crazy.
It's hard to get parts.
Airports are shut down. Frustration is high.
I'm going to hang out here and wait. I'm going to get out of here, you know. I'm not going to sit here all weekend. Now I just want to go home.
But for all the problems, people help people, and life goes on. It's beautiful. It's magic. It's a struggle. It's snow.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
This is a program about snow and what it does to people. It's a little like a moral magnifying glass. It brings out the best in some people and, well, you probably know what it can do to others. We've had a lot of snow here on the East Coast these last few days. We know that some of you in other parts of the country who get a ton of snow every winter probably think this is all a little silly, but that's the way it is. We in the media tend to think that when New York and Washington get a cold, everyone else in the country ought to sneeze. Actually, what happens when we get a lot of snow can get pretty interesting. We arbitrarily divided things up into 3 categories. The economics of snow. It makes a lot of money for some people, but ends up costing the country as a whole a lot more. Coping with snow, which is more along the lines of how a lot of snow affects people personally. And the politics of snow. You want to see local politicians go nuts? Just dump a load of snow on one of their cities. Here in Washington, for example, we've had more snow this last week than we normally get all winter long.
They haven't done anything. I haven't seen one plow in the city at all. That's pretty bad.
Cars are not going to be here, and there's a lot of congestion and a lot of accidents, people sliding in one another, and a lot of people getting stuck, and there's nothing being done about it. So,
some shrewd political observer once noted that snow removal is to local politics what foreign policy is to the president. It won't get you elected, but it can get you fired.
We're roughly between the White House and Capitol Hill.
Yeah, that's why I was going to go down to Pennsylvania Avenue and go up there.
Last night, before the latest snowstorm began, I drove through Washington, D.C. with Larry King, who heads up the Department of Public Works here in the nation's capital.
I mean, you will know what I mean when I say some mayors have lost their jobs.
Exactly.
Because they didn't get the snow off the road quickly enough and efficiently.
Right, right. And that's one of the things is everybody's real concerned about is being able to mobilize and get the snow out. Trash collection and snow removal, those are things that can get mayors unelected. And my job is to keep my mayor elected.
Yesterday, I witnessed personally a truck going up and down Connecticut Avenue for over an hour, blade down, but he wasn't pushing anything.
Our own crews will focus a great deal on neighborhoods. And to our residents, I want to thank you for being so understanding and being so patient. We're going to get to you.
Mr. King's mayor, Marion Barry, knows all about the politics of snow.
Which one ready to go?
Washingtonians have shown a lot of tolerance over the years for their controversial mayor, but he barely survived his attendance at the 1987 Super Bowl as Washington dug out of a heavy snowfall. A few days ago, when most of Washington was still snowed in, somebody thought it might be smart to plow the Mayor's Street out first. It didn't play well. Last night it snowed again. The Mayor's Street was not among the first to be plowed out today.
It comes down, we shovel it, and then once it stops, you got these mountainous drifts. You dig a path, it's covered back up, you dig it again. It's just been one vicious circle.
I spent the night in the building so I wouldn't have to dig out to dig in to get in. Now tonight, when I leave here, I've got to probably dig out, hope the metro is running above ground so I can get to University of Maryland. Then I got to dig my truck out to go home to dig in so I can park.
In the past, we've had as many as 240 contractors that have signed up. We may not have used them all.
Right.
This year, we only got 96 to sign up.
Why is that?
Because we hadn't paid them from last year until October or November.
So word gets around, you know, you may not get paid for the job and they don't want to do it.
Well, they could get money from somebody else.
There was a story in the Post the other day that you've got roughly 1/3 of the plows that you had 4 years ago.
Exactly.
Why is that?
We've not kept our fleet up, and we have a lot of problems with getting parts. Same reason, vendor payments. I got 3 graders.
And apparently some more back there, right?
Yeah, well, these 3 here, I know they're minor parts. If I had the money, I could put these on the road and plow long stretches of roads, very easy. See how high they are? This blade in the middle is really good for moving the snow out the way.
Now, how many of these do you actually have on the road?
One.
One?
One. That's what we did New York Avenue with.
And you got 3 of them sitting here,
Yeah,
and you say minor parts.
Minor
Now, what
parts.
are we talking about?
Well,
$1,000,
hey,
$5,000?
Yeah.
To fix them all, or just to fix?
Probably to fix them all.
$5,000 could fix them all.
Probably could fix them all.
And you could quadruple
my output.
Your output.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's hard to get parts.
Well, I mean, when you say it's hard to get parts.
I would have to send it to a contractor.
Right.
To get it done.
And now we're back to where we were 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The contractor wants to get paid.
Wants to get paid.
Up front.
Up front.
Because he knows the city's reputation.
Well, if it was me, I'd pay him.
This may sound silly, but I have a feeling that if you ask for a contribution from the city, you know, from the citizens of D.C. right now, and said, you know, if 10,000 of you would cough up $50 each, I can put these 3 things on the street and I'd get 4 times as much cleared.
People would do it.
A lot of the people live on small side streets that probably have not gotten plowed yet. And if they have, they haven't been plowed very well. Streets aren't good at all. It's just been one mess after another. But
Ron Coleman is a volunteer driver who delivers food to homebound AIDS patients. To the people who count on him, his ability to cope with the snow is no trivial matter, which is where we'll turn next. The different ways the different people cope with snow.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Toyota.
You rather be somewhere else today?
No, this is magic, you know, having all this snow. East Coast really needed this. It's really, it's healing to have this common bond. You know, people really love it.
Well, some people really love it. For a while, a day or 2, maybe even 3. As long as the kids aren't driving you crazy, as long as your car hasn't been ticketed and towed, as long as your flight hasn't been canceled, as long as you haven't run out of milk or heat and you've been able to get out of your driveway, as long as you don't run into someone on the metro who may not be as crazy about snow as you are.
Some guy got mad at somebody for reading a newspaper and taking up a possible space that he could have because he couldn't get on.
As much as anything, it depends on how we act and react toward one another.
I will drive a little bit slowly, and the up already. The automatic is gone.
Actually, it transcends language.
What the heck, he was in, you know, he was stopping traffic, might as well help out.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You be careful, okay?
Yes, it brings out a little closeness, a little goodness, a little kindness out of people's heart. And looking at how his circumstances was, I just think about my own self, how I was. You know, I want someone to help me too.
We've been doing this so long now, it's becoming fun. You know, you're going back to your childhood. We're basically getting paid to play in the snow.
That's what I like about this part of the country. We don't get that much snow.
For a while, as Larry King, Washington's Director of Public Works, knows, for a while, the snow actually makes people a little giddy. For a while.
Does it change people?
It really does. People they like snow. It's beautiful when it comes down, but when it stops falling, they want it gone. And when it's not gone just like that, they get a little crazy.
Like how?
Well, unreasonable. They want you to do their block. You can't understand why you just can't come and do their block.
The paralysis of a city which initially looks so enchanting doesn't take long to turn ugly.
Well, we get called names and stuff, but it's a job.
Even for normally well-adjusted people, the problems can be stressful. But some people need medical care just to cope with life as it usually is.
We have a number of patients who, because of the snow and the fact that the clinics have been closed most of this week, have had difficulty getting their medication refilled.
And for some people, that's more than a problem. It's a crisis.
Well, if they were off their medication for more than a few days, it might lead to a decompensation of their psychiatric disorder, which means they might have a manic episode, or they might start getting depressed again, or suicidal, or have some delusions or hallucinations coming back.
For most of us, fortunately, coping with the snow and its impact is a lot less dramatic.
Well, we started at 4 o'clock this morning for an 8 o'clock flight here at National. Got here and found out our flight was delayed. We got us on U.S. Air, got on the plane, read some magazines, had some bagels, de-iced the plane, took us out, brought us back, and now we're waiting for the airport to open back up.
Well, I've been just sitting with my sister and my mom and asking my mom if I can use the phone to call my friends and stuff. And then she's like, no, just sit here.
I can't clean the house anymore. I've been home for 5 days. It's clean. There's nothing else to do.
So you don't have
any children.
And your guys' goal is?
To get out of here.
Yeah, we bought new dresses for this. We're going to go out.
Tell me about the hole here. What are we looking at?
Well, it looks like a short par 3. It has a bad curve on the slope on the tail end there, breaks to the left, and pretty fast greens.
It just beats being at home, staring at 4 walls and being snowed in. I mean, at least here we've got a bar over there and a McDonald's over there, and we're all set. We got our green all set up here, and at least we can play a little golf, pass the time, so it's better than being stuck at home.
And then, of course, there is always that someone from somewhere where they have so much snow that they wonder what all the hullabaloo is about.
What is the big deal? I mean, what's the fuss? This would be normal for Helsinki. And we would have everybody go to work and nothing would be closed, and
business as usual.
Business as usual.
Critics.
Here comes a man for his sled, I think. How you doing?
Hi.
What can I get for you?
The sled.
That's right. We had a sled on hold for you, right? Let me get that for you.
There he is.
What kind of sled did you get?
It's orange and it's long, and I think I have enough money to buy it.
Here you go, Oscar.
$12?
Yeah, it's $12.99 plus the tax.
Oh, man.
How much you...
I
Huh?
only got $13.
How does that crisis get resolved? Hang in there, we'll show you. Suffice it to say that some snow-induced economic problems are easier to solve than others.
The cost of this blizzard will probably be in the billions because of the impact on the regional economy and the impact on the national economy. A quarter of the national economy has in effect been shut down for a week.
Somehow, when a smart economist tells us that a blizzard is going to cost us billions, we nod and take it in good faith. But how do they come up with numbers like that? Does somebody actually calculate the cost? Alan Havasi is controller for New York City. Here's how he does it.
We take the gross city product, the total number of goods and service quantified into dollars, $1.1 billion on a Monday and a Tuesday, $250 million on a Sunday, and take a percentage of that, what we call a storm severity multiplier.
A storm severity multiplier? Well, everybody has their own lingo, right?
Like hauling white gold. Yeah, we're from Albany up there, it's slow up there, and had an emergency down here, so we called up and they said, come on down, so we came right on down.
What did you say they called this stuff again?
White gold.
Why's that? You making a lot of overtime?
Yeah.
All of which somehow feeds into Mr. Havasi's storm severity multiplier.
So we take 13.6 and we multiply it by 0.47 and we get a number. That number was 0.68 for the first day. In other words, 68% injury. From 100% productivity, we lost 68% productivity.
And with more snow on the way, the terrible cost still is being added up tonight.
Well, yes, we do tend to simplify a little in television, but we like to think of it as humanizing.
My neighbor next door, the children close, is crying. We crying too, but hey, that's why I'm over here. We try to do it, try to make it. I don't want to go out of business.
Calling for Mr. Bolduc to advise you your flight from Portland to Boston is canceled at 7 p.m. Please return a call to U.S. Air for rescheduling information.
It's hurting us right now. It's really hurting us. Because that's, that's our main means of support, is the tips. So as long as this snow keeps doing like this, it's going to really hurt us.
Businesses are hurting, and the cities are hurting.
It's going to be at least for the department, it'll be in the mid 20 million. The 13.5 million that we started with, we went through about half of that before it even snowed.
We multiply that number, now 13.6, as against a factor that adjusts for the temperature. So it's multiplier of 1.5 if the temperature is below freezing and 1.0 if it's above freezing.
But it's an ill wind that blows no good.
Oh yeah, getting overtime today. It's the only reason I'd step over my mother to get overtime, so the snow doesn't slow me down.
In fact, a lot of businesses are making money hand over fist.
When we put milk out on the shelves, it's generally gone within an hour. We are seeing people buying 3 or 4 or more quarts or gallons of milk and many more loaves of bread than they probably need, but people are panicked.
So what do you think of this weather?
I like it.
You're kidding, how come?
Because I'm out here and I'm getting paid.
Last Saturday, January 6th, was the biggest day in our 60-year history. We did more business in that day than we would normally do in a 3-day period.
Now, Alan Havasi takes that into account. Some businesses are hit harder than others.
We average out the severity for each sector. The number we came up with is 4.47. So it's the 13.6 inches, that's the number of inches minus 2 with the adjustment for temperature, multiplied by the severity factor. And that adds up to $1,150 million. And it's as sophisticated a computation as you can get, and we may be off $1 or $2.
Sort of like Oscar.
Yeah, it's $12.99 plus the tax.
Oh, man.
How much you, huh?
I only got $13.
You got it. It's yours.
Here it is.
Okay? Have fun.
Ciao, ciao.
You'd like to think it's exactly what they would have done, even if no television crew had been recording the whole thing. A closing thought in a moment.
On things and people. It makes you appreciate heat and electricity and the ease with which we normally acquire food. It also makes people like me who normally work in a sitting position have a lot more appreciation for those of you who earn your living through the strength of your backs. A couple of hours of shoveling snow can do that for you. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington, where it's due to warm up a little next week. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
If you wish a transcript or a video cassette version of this or any edition of Nightline, please call 1-800-913-3434.
Nightline is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from